So FitBit has been making wearables ever since they were founded in 2007, and they've remained the top-selling wearable tech ever since. And then the Apple Watch was released, which posed a major threat to their sales. So now I believe they've created this FitBit Blaze in response to that. A colorized watch with different watch faces and some more interface so that it can catch up with the upcoming smartwatches being developed by major companies. So let's start off with the basics. What can it do? First of all, make no mistake, this Fitbit is still focused on fitness, as it should be. It collects all kinds of information about your activity. So that's calories you're burning, how you're sleeping at night, how many steps you're taking, how many floors you've gone up, and if your phone is with you, it uses GPS tracking so you can track where you're going. If you're going on a hike, a run, or a walk, wherever, all of that, again, is controlled with the app, available for Windows OS, Android, and iOS. That app controls all kinds of things, like the watch face you want on the Fitbit Blaze, what notifications you want delivered to the... I'm sorry, I can't do this. I really tried to not compare this to the Apple Watch in this video at all. I was gonna have a separate video for that, but I'm gonna kind of have to now. If you use Android, then buy Android Wear, some kind of watch, or buy an iPhone and then get an Apple Watch. And if you're a Windows user, all three of you out there, probably just get the Microsoft Band or something, because that's likely cheaper than this. I don't know. It's probably better. Don't get the Fitbit Blaze. I'm really sorry to announce this too, because I was getting excited about proving to all those viewers out there that maybe just because he's an Apple sheep, he doesn't hate all things not made by Apple. So I was gonna try this out because I read about it. It sounded cool. It was a cheaper smartwatch alternative, and yet here I come back with my Apple sheep stereotype, and I'm here to say why the Apple Watch is better. And I know it's more expensive, but not a crazy lot more expensive. So let me dive into this. Now, this thing isn't useless, so let me finish up what it can do. It can deliver text, as in iMessage text or SMS text. So if you're on Android, just SMS text. Let you know when a phone call is coming, and calendar notifications. That is it. No support for Facebook Messenger, no support for Twitter, any other apps that give notifications, none of that. Just calls, texts, and calendar. And in case you're wondering, yes, we tried this on Android as well. A friend of mine has an Android phone. We hooked it up to his. We thought maybe since Android's more customizable and open source, perhaps you can change those things on an Android phone, but no. It's still just those three notifications, which is more and more people are not SMS texting each other and not using the phone. That's not incredibly helpful. Now, you can also control your music, so you can skip songs, pause music, turn it up or down, and skip those songs, and of course clear notifications. Then of course there's all those Fitbit things that Fitbits all do, so all that stuff about your activity, yes. All of this stuff about the Fitbit is fine. The problem is it's $200. Now, the Apple Watch is obviously at $300 starting price, and it's more expensive. However, the things it offers just starts to stack up on almost every level. There's just so many more things you can do with this, and it's only $100 more. And if you're willing to spend $200 on a smartwatch, just save for that $300. It's not a huge price difference. My biggest complaint is actually charging it. So how do you charge with the Apple Watch? Plug it into the wall, drop it on that wireless charger, and it's going. And it has nightstand mode, so you can still kind of have a use for it while it's charging. Cool, nice and easy. How do you charge the Fitbit Blaze? Well, you pop the brain of it out of the case, drop it into this box charger where you get the pins to line up, then clamp it down, and then plug that charger into a wall outlet that's not included. So they're assuming you're either plugging it into your computer or already have one, and then it starts charging. And I just think that's way too complicated when it could be so much easier. Not only does taking apart the watch feel dangerous because you're pushing on the display, and since it's LCD, it kind of bubbles a bit. It doesn't pop out of there easily. You kind of have to force it. Now, luckily, the battery life is significantly longer on the Fitbit Blaze. I lasted about 4 days. They say it can go 5, but it was almost dead on the 4th morning, so that's when I charged it. And the Apple Watch is usually around 1.5 to 2 days. They both take 2 hours to charge, but still, charging this thing is a hassle, and Apple made sure you wouldn't have to even think about it. But hey, how about those buttons on the Fitbit Blaze? What do? First of all, the two on the side do nothing if you press them. Tip of intuitiveness to Fitbit: if they do nothing when you press them, they're basically useless. So to get these buttons to actually work, you have to hold them down and then they do something. So the one on the bottom brings up notifications, and then if you hold the one at the top, it brings down your music control. Now, I don't know why you can't just press them once, because now people are gonna feel like it's broken if you just press it and nothing changes. And also, these two buttons are useless because if you just swipe up on the screen or swipe down on the screen, it opens up the same menus, which means you can use the Fitbit Blaze in all its glory without ever touching those two buttons. So yeah, kind of useless there. Now, in terms of the screen, one thing that particularly bothers me is the frame rate. This is probably so they could save battery, but it seems like it's running at 24 frames a second or 20. And you know, all our tech, our computers, our phones, our tablets, they're all running at 60 FPS, and the Apple Watch, mind you. And that just seems smoother and elegant for a screen in a computer to work right. This makes it feel a little cheap when the frame rate's that low. Like it's kind of trying, but not really. I don't know. It's just when you have a watch and a phone and your phone, it looks smoother than that. It doesn't feel like they're working together very well because there's no phone out there with that low a frame rate. Smartphone, that is. There's probably some flip phone. So I guess it's not a major problem. It's just something that bothers me a lot, especially when it's only $100 more to get that fixed. My next complaint is the auto wake button. So both the Apple Watch and the FitBit Blaze have a system where holding them up activates the screen and it turns on. Now with the Apple Watch, it gets this right almost all the time. I'd say after using it so much, probably like 97% of the time the Apple Watch wakes up when I intend it to. The FitBit Blaze has not been the case. Tons of the time it does not wake up when I want it to. I'll even do this and it won't work. So then you end up doing this and yeah, sometimes it won't boot up. And then depending on the time of the day, I don't know what constitutes this. Sometimes tapping the display when it's off once will wake it up. Other times it won't. And then when it doesn't turn on when you tap it once, you usually have to tap it rapidly until it finally wakes up. So I don't know how that system works, but all I can say is Apple Watch is more reliable. It holds up to that Apple standard of I like it because it works. Fitbit Blaze is like, it works sometimes and it's nice, but a lot of the time it doesn't. And you just gotta hope that it's in its working time and not it's what's going on time. Yeah, the Fitbit Blaze is probably works about 60% of the time. There's still several times throughout the day when I do this, nothing happens. That's kind of weird. I hope it's not just mine broken. Now next, I never thought I'd say this, but the Apple Watch is actually more customizable. Wow, the Apple product has more options. Who knew? The Fitbit only has 4 watch faces, and you cannot change them or customize them at all. They're just there, just 4. That's all. Apple Watch has so many more. You can make your own. Also, you can alter the ones they give by giving different complications, different colors, different amounts of detail. And the watch faces Fitbit Blaze provides are not great watch faces. Several of them look weird. They're not elegant. They're too complex and detailed. And some of us just want to know the time, and that's it. And really with this, no matter what watch face you choose, it has to somehow tell you how active you're being. So I guess it is Fitbit. They are centered around fitness. I guess there's that, but please add some more watch faces. This is ridiculous to just have 4. Also, bizarrely, the Fitbit itself, when it's all put together, is larger than my 42mm Apple Watch, but the screen on the Fitbit is smaller. So yeah, there's some giant bezels on this thing. They put their logo on the bottom, and that means you can't flip it over if you wanted to. Like on the Apple Watch, if you want to have the digital crown on the bottom, you can do that. You can flip because there's no logo on the front. Apple made sure that with the iPhone too, unlike Samsung. But with the Fitbit, they want you to constantly know that you're using a Fitbit by putting it right there. And that means that bottom bezel is thicker than the other 3. I think that's kind of weird. They should just get rid of that. Make the bezels all even is what I'm saying. Another problem with this display is it's LCD, not OLED. And OLED is better, we all know that. But it doesn't only mean that the Apple Watch display looks better, but it means that this thing, when you're tracking your sleep, because that's what you're supposed to do, you wear it to bed, and you're readjusting yourself while sleeping, and this thing auto wakes on, high beams, guys, right in the face. In your dark room, this thing just lights up, boom, in your eyes, and you're like, ow, and then I'm awake now. And then there's the next problem, you can't turn it off. With the Apple Watch, if it's on and you don't want it to be on, you go, boop, it's off now. Turn it on with one tap, boop, it's off now. With this thing, once it's on, there's no going back. So I had to just cover it like this and hope that when I lifted my hand again, it would, but no. See, every time I do that, it registers my hand touching the screen, so it lights up again. I wish there was a way you could just be like, no, I didn't want you to be on. Because with LCD screens, you can't have a selected amount of pixels turn on. Even if the screen is black, all those pixels activate. So it's blinding, especially when you're sleeping. Now listen, if the Fitbit Blaze was $100 or less, please, this would be a good wearable because it's not as good as the Apple Watch. We all know that. But if it was $100, it would be significantly cheaper. This is $200. You're only $100 away from an Apple Watch, and the Apple Watch provides so much more. So if you're just saving another $100, you're getting a bigger display, a better display, higher frame rates, customizable watch faces, more watch faces, and a better charging method, notification delivery across all your apps, replying to texts, also a silent taptic engine. So when this thing fires, I feel it, no one hears it. This thing goes off. It's like a vibration sensor in a cell phone. Everyone can hear it, so it's really not quiet. And again, Force Touch, Siri. So yeah, a microphone and speaker. You can actually take phone calls with this. You can select what music you want to play. Camera viewfinder for your phone. Apple Pay. day, which is great. And supposedly, I've read, more accurate heart rate detection, way easier to exchange watch bands, more than one way to wear it, and an infinite number of apps that you can install on it that are still yet to be made, as well as many that are existing now. Instagram, Twitter, the news, Tesla app on Apple Watch. It's amazing. So again, if you're an Android user, I'm sure there's some Android Wear watch that I'll review later that's probably way better than the Fitbit Blaze for the same price. And I'm really sorry to say this because I was super excited to get it, but I cannot recommend the Blaze. If it was half the price that it is, sure, it's a great affordable wearable, but I can't. It's just, you're only 100 off from the best smartwatch you can get. But I've been reading a lot about the Pebble smartwatches, and those seem to be pretty cool. So maybe I'll try that next. Hopefully it'll deliver more. Anyway, guys, if there's any of you Fitbit Blaze owners out there, I hope you had better luck than I did. I just couldn't wrap my brain around it into liking it, even though I really wanted to. Besides the Apple Watch, what's your favorite smartwatch? I'd have to go with like the Moto 360 2nd gen. I think that one looks really cool. But yeah, let me know in the comments below. This is your Apple Sheep here, and I will see you in the next one.